guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Story, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today we are spilling all the tea about parents and the things they say, whether they're right or wrong. We're going to be the judges of that. If you are someone who likes to listen to the tea but doesn't want to be a part of it, like you just want to grab the popcorn and hear all about the drama, me too. Welcome. You found your place. So don't forget to follow, subscribe, whatever the term is, wherever you are listening or watching. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into these Reddit stories.
I'm Grace Story, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now.
Starting off strong with, would I be the a-hole if I fire a kid because his mother is harassing me? P.S. All of these are from Best Redditor updates if you're new here. I like to know how things end. I can't sleep at night if I don't. So everything I pick has an update. I try to pick ones that are concluded as well. So you can go ahead and mark yourself safe from Reddit stories that you will never know how they end. Anyways, let's go ahead and just dive into this one. I, late 20s, run a department in a startup and hired a few student workers, ages 17 to 21, to conduct classes. He's not great. He shows up late, doesn't prepare, but when addressed, he started to improve a lot. Still not as good as the others, but he gets the job done. His mom, however, she knows me through a mutual friend, and she has constantly been emailing me, asking why she doesn't have access to the internal systems of the company so she can check on his work, sending me voice notes of her screaming at him after he forgets about meetings, sending me messages to excuse him from these classes he's supposed to conduct last minute because she didn't finish up her rounds, or even when he just forgot. The last incident was when he showed up 25 minutes late, didn't even notify us, he knew I'd be out for the day, and proceeded to bill for more time than he was there for. I wrote on his timesheet that he was overbilling and that he needs to inform us if he wasn't going to make it on time. A voice note followed, screaming. Mommy Dearest saw the note I made, screaming at him. And I just can't anymore. I feel like a complete butthole firing him over his mother, and I know his behavior justifies him being fired, but he's been working really hard on improving, and I can see the difference. Edit to answer all the Christians. Oh, edit to answer all the questions. Sorry, they spelled it weird, so we're good. I was a little confused there. I've spoken to both of them to cool it down with her behavior. I blocked the mom. She contacts me through his account, so she had access to our systems anyway, which is already an issue. Luckily, I've ensured he has no access to any systems with info on the minors taking the courses. This could have opened a whole can of worms. We hired the students because the model is focused on students teaching students. We have kids that go through the program and can lead full classes at the age of 15. It's made for low-cost communities so kids can be taught how to be leaders. I love my job. It has changed so many lives and gotten teens to bloom. We have a handful of paid instructors for when the interns, the kids paying cents for the programs, can't make it. Legally, I'm good to go, thus making this a would I be the a-hole problem. HR is fully supportive of my decision as well as the higher-ups. They're actually encouraging it but gave me the final call. I have some thoughts. Is anybody surprised? I was on the fence because he needs to learn. But if he's improving, it seems that he's learning from what you're teaching him. But he's also not improving very fast. The moment that I was like, full stop, he should probably be let go, is when you said, so kids can be taught how to be leaders. So is he teaching them how to be leaders? Because if he is, this is not the actions of a leader. Maybe one day he could be a leader, but he doesn't know how to be one right now. He doesn't know how to be responsible. He doesn't know how to take accountability. He's improving, but he's not a good fit for the role at the end of the day. And should someone who's teaching not know what they're teaching? You know, like, shouldn't someone who is teaching a class to some degree have mastered the skill that they're teaching? So outside of the mom, completely take her out of the equation, I would say it's not a good fit. He can go work somewhere else. Obviously, the mom is insane, and it's a fireable offense that he has given her access to the internal system, because at the end of the day, that does fall on him. We read a story where the guy was venting about work, and he vented to his roommate, and his roommate ended up trading stocks based on that information. He ended up getting a felony for insider trading, and now he can't get hired anywhere. That was like a couple episodes ago. I don't remember which one exactly, possibly the roommate one. But that being said, he needs to be responsible for his job and what he does when he's on the job, but also how he acts when he's off the job and who he gives access to. And it sucks that his mom is insane, but I hate to say it, it's not your responsibility at the end of the day. It's his responsibility to set boundaries with his mom. You said he's 17 to 21, so he could potentially be underage. So if he's 17, that's a big difference between 21. I think that if he's 17, it comes with time. If he's 21, that's the age where you could go no contact with your parents and be fine. It would take a lot of work, but you would be fine. So I think that his age also plays a factor in how responsible he is and where he should be. Because at 21, you should have a little bit more experience under your belt versus 17. This might be his first job. Either way, the mom is 100% in the wrong. Top relevant comment is not the a-hole, but absolutely document everything before firing the kid and be ready for mama to show up and raise hell. OOP said, I could write a book with all the documenting I have on her. Could you pursue action against her, though, if she were to do that? Like, what legally could you do? Because I don't know if it'd quite fall under harassment, but I think it might with all the voice notes. So here's an update from a month later. I know it didn't get that much traction, but here we go. I took the advice and consulted with HR on this as well. So, sad update, he got fired. We took the time and HR spoke to him about his conduct and performance. He admitted to slacking and promised to keep his mom under control. She quickly deleted all the messages on Facebook she sent to me to remove a trace thereof, but the emails remain. He promised to keep everything up to standard and work as hard as possible. But the focus was on his quality of work. His mother was mentioned, but just as an afterthought of appropriate work conduct. Why don't we have screenshots of the Facebook messages? Rookie mistake. All I'm going to say about that. I don't think it tells them if you screenshot it, so for next time, hopefully there isn't a next time, but if there is, or to anybody listening, if you get any sketchy messages over Facebook, screenshot them. He then proceeded to amaze us for a total of 5 days before going back into his old habits again and being completely useless and even aggressive towards other team members making slight mistakes. He even charged 4 times the amount of time for a quarter of the quality of work the other team members produce. So his 2-week probation ended after 9 days. I hope his mom never does this again, but all in all, his work ethic is what got him fired in the end. I didn't even address the whole pay thing. I totally forgot that he was overcharging. Showing up late is kind of a mistake. Like, I get it. Things happen. Maybe slacking off. Okay, he's young. Putting that he worked for more time than he did is a very intentional thing that is time theft. Like, that is something that it could maybe happen as a mistake, but more often than not, it's not. So that would have been a fireable offense the first time it happened. But the second time, that is the audacity of this one is crazy. So hopefully he's doing better. This was in 2021. The top comment from Best Redditor is, a friend of mine is the head HR person for a tech firm. He has parents that call him to talk about their kids that are interns. His standard line is, I cannot legally talk to you about an adult employee of this company. I will tell you that if you call again, the employee will be informed that they will not be getting a full-time position due to your interference. He rarely gets another call from that parent. That's the thing, is once you turn 18, you don't have like a guardian. No one owes anything to your parents. And I don't know, like when I turned 18, I knew people whose parents were like going to bat for them in college when we were seniors in college. Like if they got a bad grade or something, their parents were emailing a professor. And I just could not understand it because like my mom never even like offered, because it was just bizarre. Like once you turn 18, you're on your own, and you should be raising your kids to be independent and not want you to interfere. Like, they need to fight their own battles. They need to be responsible enough to take accountability if they do something wrong and stand up for themselves if they didn't. So, at the end of the day, this is an issue with the mom and how she raised the kid, but also the kid is the a-hole for how he was acting. So, parent and kid suck. Employer, you are totally fine. My wife got accepted to med school 5 hours away, and our parents want us to leave our toddler behind with them. We, 21 female, 23 male, had our son, 3, about to be 4, young. I'm graduated and work full-time. She graduates in the spring. My wife, Mika, is crazy smart. Yeah, I know. Not smart enough to not get pregnant. But even I don't think she'd get into her dream med school. We found out the other week. Okay, you didn't have to put that little part about the pregnancy thing. Like, things happen. Doesn't mean she's not smart. Oh, P.S., by the way, all the stories will be linked in the description if you want to see what's up. Like I said, they should all be concluded, but if you want to read comments or see if there, for some reason, is another update, then go off. We live in a high cost of living city and live with my wife's dad, stepmom, and her 2 half-sisters. Her mom is retired and watches our son so he doesn't have to go to daycare. We lived with my parents for the first 2 years until my mom got cancer and they moved to a smaller house. She's in remission as of last month, though. Wait, that's awesome. I'm really, really happy to hear that. I'm so happy for you guys, and that's great. I know they love us, but it's like our son is the son of their lives, lol. Mika's parents hate one another, but will take our son places together because they adore him so much. My parents have more pictures of him in their house than me or my siblings. Sometimes we have to push back on them and tell them that we actually would like to do things with our son instead of them always having him. Like, for instance, this weekend, her stepmom told us she was going to take our son to see the lights, even though we already have plans with him, and she seemed upset. It's not bad. I'm just trying to explain how they adore him and spend time with him. But like the title says, things are changing and we'll be moving out next year. I need to find a job, and even though things are rough out there in my field, it shouldn't be too bad. And her school will have daycare for our son. But it's causing so many issues. All 5 of them sat us down last week and said that we should consider leaving our son here for the first year. We obviously kind of freaked out and told them no, he's our son and belongs with us, and ended the conversation pretty quickly. And it's true, he's my little best friend. I can't imagine not seeing him every day like I'm some divorced dad from the 90s. Mika is the same way, but she's not the most emotional person, but I know her, and I can tell she's freaked out by just the thought. They've still tried reasoning, quote unquote, with us, saying it's just 1 year for us to get settled and then he can come and join us to start kindergarten. They promised to bring him to see us every weekend, but he's so young. I don't want him in the car 10 hours every week. And don't get me wrong, he loves his grandparents. But we're his parents. He'll miss us for sure. All our parents have been giving us the full court press since then, though. Mika's mom tried convincing her last night, and she said she's starting to think they're right. I think they're weighing her down, but she was freaking out last night saying that with a toddler and it being medical school and not just normal college, what if she fails or we fail to do the best for our son? He's such a great and happy little boy, and she was spiraling about him hating daycare and missing his grandparents, but I reminded her that millions of kids go to daycare and love it, and he would miss us too. She agreed, but I can tell that she's still upset. I'm just wondering if I'm being illogical. Is it even fair to my son to bring him with us when it's going to be hard and take him away from his life here? I don't know. Sorry if this is jumbled. Obviously, everything we do is for our baby, but I'm wondering if we're missing the forest for the trees here. Someone suggested me staying and my wife going herself. She kind of mentioned this and immediately freaked out. We're in the USA. Edit. To be clear, I don't want to live apart from her for sure. I'm not jealous or anything, but I could see me getting resentful if it's like I'm here being a single dad and she's out on her own, you know? And then she's resentful that I get to be with our son. Plus, I think I take good care of her and she'll need that in medical school. Sorry if this comes off as harsh, but why is this even a conversation? I think that you are letting the opinions of your family affect you so much, and it's kind of blurring your vision of the future. At the end of the day, he's your kid, and they're his grandparents. And I think that by him spending so much time with them, they have kind of overstepped those boundaries, and they don't really understand the grandparent role, which they've been taking care of him, and that's incredible. That's great. Like, having that childcare has saved you so much money, and it's so good for him to have them in his life and that extra support. But he's your family. Like, that's your son, and your nuclear family is you and your wife and your baby. And if you need to move because it's gonna further your or your wife's dream, then do it. Yeah, you're packing up his life and moving him, but you're also packing up yours, and he's a little kid. He'll be fine. Okay? Better now than later. As someone who moved from Florida to Kentucky at 6, better now than later. Also, I've dealt with a lot of this since I left for college up until now. You know, Josh and I have one set of parents telling us, when you have grandkids, you're so far away and we just, you're going to need our help. You should be closer. And then we have another set of parents saying, you're not going to have kids anytime soon. You should pick up your life and move with us because, even though you don't want to raise kids there, that's a problem for later. And so we've got both sides of the spectrum. And at the end of the day, like, it's our life. Like, we get to put our foot down and say, no, we're going to stay here because this is what makes sense for us. And I think that the answer is pretty obvious that he should just go with you and go to daycare and everything will be fine. Why can't they come up and visit him every weekend if they're going to drive him up every weekend? Like, why can't they just visit? I think that coming up every weekend is more than enough time to spend with him. I mean, most grandparents don't even get to see their grandkids like every single week. Some do, but not always. I just think that they're overstepping and not respecting the boundary you're placing by saying this is the decision we're making because they want your son to be around. Like, they want to be around your son, which is great, but we're going to have to put our foot down and you got to do what's best for your family. Whether that's moving, whether that's staying, that's what you guys get to decide. But it sounds like either way, she's going to medical school at this location. So I think the whole family should move. So a relevant comment from the original post is move as a family and put the little guy in daycare. Do not stay behind. Your wife will need your moral support while in med school. Her family can come visit. That's another thing. Med school is extremely difficult. I didn't get any sort of like doctorate, but I had my master's and I was in an accelerated program. So it was a year and we were taking like 22 credit hours plus an internship for that whole year. And I cannot imagine being alone through that. I mean, it was some of the most stressful days of my life, battling burnout, depression, so much happened. And if I didn't have Josh and my animals and like that little family, like I still lived with my best friend at the time, like I would have completely fallen apart. So don't make her go all by herself to a whole new city where what is she going to come back? What if she makes friends there? What if she gets a job there? You're going to have to just do it. You're going to have to rip off the Band-Aid. So there is an update for 1 week later. Let's go ahead and see what happened. I know my life isn't that bad compared to so many people right now, but it's rough. My wife and I are in our early 20s and we have a 4-year-old son. We've been living with our parents and have recently had a horrible fight with them. They want us to leave our son with them next year when we move for her to go to med school. We said no. We were living with her dad and stepmom and they told us to leave. I'm working and she's in school and works PT, and honestly, we could have had more saved. But we've been paying things off and having a son is expensive. I mean, you can't beat yourself up over that. I think that because this was from 2025, the end of 2025, I think that the economy right now doesn't save room for a lot of savings. The cost of living is really high. And people don't think it'll happen until it happens. Like, obviously, do your best to have a savings account, but I swear it is so normal to be struggling to have savings right now. So don't beat yourself up too much. I get it. I could have more saved, but I don't. And I know that feeling, but you're doing the best you can. You've got a lot going on. You also probably never imagined they would kick you out, if not for you, but for your son and not wanting to put him in that situation. The first night we went to a hotel with our son. It wasn't a good situation. Her mom told her she and our son could stay with her, but not me. Oh, well, why not? Obviously, she and our son being safe and somewhere warm is the most important thing. So I insisted she go there and I stayed with a buddy. It's only been a few nights and I've been looking for a place for the 3 of us every free second. Our city is so expensive and all I've been able to find that's available and can afford are far away or in a dangerous area. My wife is still in school and the safest place I can find for us is almost 45 minutes one way. I feel like it's such a failure of a husband. I miss my son and most of all I miss my wife. I've been getting my son after work so that she can study, but what kind of husband and father can't provide a place for us? It's not your fault. You guys are so young. When I was 23, we were trying to find a place to live and it was terrifying. And I was just stressed about having a place for my dog. Like, I can't imagine. I will say though, since she is still in school, I don't know if it's like her last semester or what. I know that loans aren't like ideal, but there could be some sort of financial aid in the form of a grant versus a loan. If you go to your school, if you go to a big university, I don't know if you go to like community college, I don't know if you're going to like a huge college, but in the United States, I'm assuming that's where you are, but maybe you aren't. If you go to a bigger university, they usually have housing for people with children or older people that are more like apartments, especially in this day and age. But it does have a hefty price tag. If you have to pay that for one semester while you figure it out, you could always get out like a school loan that you just pay back like a school federal loan. Obviously, that's not ideal, but if you're in a horrible situation and you have nowhere else to go, it is an option. Not the best option, but it is one that you can fall back on for the time being. There should be resources for mothers who are in school or parents that are still in school that your university can direct you to. If you go to a larger one, I'm not sure about the smaller ones, that can provide things like assistance finding housing, um, potentially like a dorm space or somewhere with some sort of like scholarship, or even just point you in the right direction with the government of where you can live. But there are options for you. So don't think that you're just like going to be homeless. This too shall pass, which I know that sounds really like annoying and cringy, but you're going to be okay. There are people out there to help you. You just have to know where to find them. And this was really manipulative on your parents' part. And I'm so sorry for that, because they should not be acting this way. And it's kind of disgusting that they are. Even though her mom is letting them stay there, she said she's not going to let her daughter or grandson be homeless. ... She won't watch him while we work or go to school like she used to. I know we were really lucky, don't yell at me, but my wife has had to miss class or ask for favors from friends because I work full-time and do not have flex PTO. And basically, my only option would be unpaid FMLA. Yeah, this is another thing that I would reach out to the university about resources. My question is, what happened so that she stopped helping? Did I miss that? There had to be a reason why she doesn't watch them like she used to and why you're not allowed to stay there. It could be something as silly as she doesn't like you because you said something when you were 15 that she didn't like, but it is something that I feel like would be helpful context. My parents won't take my calls and have my sisters ignoring me too. My brother offered me to stay with him, but his apartment isn't in a super safe area and he has 3 other roommates. My buddy, the one I'm staying with, his parents have offered for us to stay with them. They're lovely and have known us forever, but staying with people again kind of scares me. I know my wife and son are safe, but she's miserable and busy. I feel bad she's the main one responsible for our son right now, while she feels bad I can't see him as often as here. And not to brag, but I take good care of my wife, making sure she has lunch packed and all her stuff before school so she can focus on her grades. And now she doesn't have that. I never thought they'd cut us off. I feel like a failure to my wife and son. This sucks. So they compiled all OOP's relevant comments on this. There is another update, so I'm just going to read that comment so we get the context, and then we'll hop on to update 2. My long-term goal is for my wife to go to medical school, me be an electrician. After she's done with residency and fellowship, she would be early 30s, and we buy a house and maybe have a couple more kids. I am the breadwinner now, but still am supporting her as best I can because she deserves it and our son deserves the best life. My goals are more simple than hers. Of course, now our budget is completely changed, and I'm saving every penny towards finding us a place. Beyond that, I'm just going to be happy being married to her and being a dad, but I can't do that right now, so I need to get my life together. We were paying her undergrad tuition. We have some savings, but not as much as we should have. Our parents would tell us to do things like take our son on trips or events and stuff. I know it seems stupid in retrospect. I don't have a mentor, but I have a budget, and I'm working on it with all of the changes now. So there are a couple other relevant comments just saying like, hey, you can do this, you're not a failure. And then some people are saying like, your wife should take some time off and get a job. But yeah, we're kind of all over the place. So I'm interested to see where this update goes. It is from 3 weeks later, and it's titled, Update. My family couldn't be together for Thanksgiving, but we'll all be together for Christmas. Hey guys, I wanted to finally give a happy update. Just a background, my wife, Mika, 21 female, and I, 23 male, have a 4-year-old son. We were living with her parents as she is finishing school and was accepted into medical school in another city. Our parents all wanted us to leave our son with them for the first year that she was in medical school. When we said no, they kicked us out. Her mom has been letting my wife and my son stay at her house, but hasn't been helping. She used to watch our son during the day as she's retired and I work full time. I've been desperately trying to find all 3 of us a place together. I've been staying with a buddy, but he has multiple roommates. We get our keys to our place tomorrow. Yay! Originally, Mika's best friend's parents were going to let us stay with them because we live in a very high cost of living area and Mika is only working part-time. When we started clearing out their basement for us to stay in, we discovered some issues. Mold, termites, and mice, basically. And the friend's parents need to do a bunch of work. They felt bad, but after what I saw, I feel bad for them. They're so nice, and I said I'd help in any way, but I don't know much about all that. Yeah, that's something I wouldn't want to, like, DIY. You definitely need people who are experts in getting rid of all of that to come and do it the right way. So I feel bad for the price tag that's going to be on that, but you did the right thing by not, like, trying to DIY and do it anyway, because that would not be a safe environment for anybody. Anyway, sorry I'm rambling. We're in a hotel now just for tonight. When I went to pick up Mika and her son, her mom raged at me and accused me of ruining her daughter's life and said she wishes that I would drop. No longer living. Can't say that word. I got my wife and son out of there as quickly as possible, but it was pretty bad. Wait. So is she blaming the pregnancy on you completely? Is that why you're not allowed to live there? Because she was 17. Oh, I missed that. What, she was 17 and you were 19 when you were originally? Okay. So I guess that I could see that. That's not great. Not great at all. But that would make sense why her mom doesn't want you around. And who's to say her life is ruined? I think that it's just a bump in the road. Highs and lows. You're just going through a little craziness right now. And then you're going to look back on it when you're older and be like, wow, that was crazy. Can you believe we got through that? And you're going to be so proud of yourself for being able to overcome that. So I'm glad you were able to get your wife out. It sounds like there's a lot of tension on all ends from all family members. But hopefully, you'll have a place of your own and you won't have to talk to anybody that you don't want to. You can mend relationships when it's time and just kind of let them rest for a little while everyone heals. But let's finish this update and see what else is happening. But it's going to be okay. I found us a place that is safe and we can afford. It's a little further than we'd like from my work and her school, but we'll figure it out. And it's small. We're going to have to share a bedroom with our son. It's going to be really cramped. But it's just less furniture that we'll need. I don't know, trying to stay positive. But we'll be together, and that's all that matters. I have seen them every day, but I miss my family so much it hurt. I'm so happy we're together tonight and can't stop snuggling them. My son likes it. Mika tolerates it. The good news is that all of this has made her even more determined to go to medical school with our son. Her parents have been giving her the full court press, and I know she was upset and questioning everything, but she's not anymore. I have a surprise I can't wait to tell Mika when our son falls asleep. Since we haven't been able to be together, I've spent the past few weeks helping my coworker's dad with a project for extra cash. I won't be able to give them the magical Christmas that they're used to, but we can make it our own, and our son will have gifts to open Christmas morning. And so will she. Without pulling from our moving and now living budget. I know she's had a really difficult few weeks, but I'm hoping she can forget about all of that soon. We're excited for the future. That's so sweet. I'm glad that you guys are making it work, and now, like, you're starting fresh without having to rely on anyone, so no one can take this away from you again. Like, if you're renting, you might have a landlord and that's about it, but you don't have to worry about family holding anything over your head or IOUs. It's just, you guys, it's hard to do it on your own, but it's so rewarding, and hopefully the worst part's over. The cramp situation, like, I get it, it sucks, but I'm glad that you have a space, and you guys are going to be moving soon, so you'll be able to find a bigger spot, and because you got a smaller spot, you can save up even more. Relevant comment is, that's so wholesome, man. Sounds like you guys are going to make it work no matter what. Your kid's going to remember the Christmas you were finally together way more than whatever fancy stuff he might have gotten before. That's so true. OP did respond and say, I hope so. He's used to being pretty spoiled, so hopefully we can make it special regardless. I mean, he is 4. So I think that you can come up with something, and he's probably happy just to be back together after spending a little bit of time apart. So obviously the parents of the parents, so the grandparents, are the ones in the wrong here, in my opinion, but I want to know your opinion. I'm giving you all of my thoughts, so it's only fair you give me yours, if you are on a platform where you can do so. So don't forget to comment down below if you can. Parents want to cut my pay by $5 an hour. Hey everyone, I'm 20 female located in Southern California, and I've been babysitting for this family for 2 years now. I've been watching their 3 kids, 6 male, 5 male, and 3 female, 2 days a week, usually Tuesday and Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. They pay me $30 an hour. Well, Sunday night, they asked me to babysit for a date night, but when they paid me this afternoon, I noticed they gave me $25 less. When I texted asking if they had made a mistake, the dad called me and told me he felt $30 an hour was a lot for 3 kids, who he called self-sufficient. He told me that all they do is watch TV and play video games, and it's an easy job, but he still felt like they were paying me too much. He felt $25 an hour was more appropriate to pay, and because I'm still in college, it was still great money for a college student. He also mentioned how inflation was causing him to cut any unnecessary expenses. Okay, there's so many things wrong with that paragraph alone, but the fact he didn't tell you and just hoped you wouldn't notice is crazy. I'm gonna keep reading. I'd like to add that I walk to their house after my classes, and they're okay with me bringing my puppy along with me, which has been great. That being said, I think a $5 an hour pay cut is too much. They live in a 6-bedroom house. I don't know how to approach the parents and say that I'm not okay with the pay cut. Yeah, to do it and not tell you is crazy. To say that they're self-sufficient when they're not. They're not. What is the youngest? 3? Absolutely not. They are not. Also, if they're just watching TV and playing video games and you're watching them that often, they should be doing more. Like, you should be taking them for walks or taking them to the park or, I don't know, playing in the backyard, doing crafts. Like, they should not just be watching a screen that often. And I don't want to sound like that person, and I know it's easier said than done, but like, absolutely, that is crazy. I'm hoping he's just out of touch and doesn't realize what his kids actually do, and like, he's just not involved, but that's crazy. Relevant comment says they're treating you like a child, telling you how much pocket money you earn for your chores. Tell them that you're only willing to accept the agreed upon rate. For the next booking, ask them to pay ahead of time, including the remaining fee they owe for that. That way they're covered should they find another sitter. Then OOP said, yeah, he talked to his friends, and one of his friends pays their babysitter $20 an hour for their 3 kids, which he thought was a fair price. I felt like I was being talked down to. Yeah, being talked down to is a huge issue generationally. I feel like the divide that's going on between, like, my mom's generation and my generation is wild. And maybe every single generation feels that way. It's just, like, a canon event that we all go through, but I get talked down to, and I'm freaking 26 years old. I feel like I'm old enough to be kind of safe from that, but I'm not. So buckle in, bestie. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how much experience you have. People will still treat you like you're dumb. Another commenter said, does the mom know he paid you less? This sounds like a weird power move on his part. I would let her know about the incident. If she agrees, then you need to communicate with them that you will not accept less than the current rate of $30 an hour. You are already being underpaid, in my opinion. Again, she might not know, and this is a weird move on his part, speaking from someone who works with a weird DB. Dad? Boss? What does DB stand for? I might not be the brightest in the Christmas tree. If you know, feel free to let me know. My brain hurts. Another thought is, like, they owe you that $25 because you already worked it under the assumption you would get what you always get. Like, imagine going to work and then they just give you, like, what's 5 of 30? 1/6. So they just give you 1/6 less of what you usually get an hour. I would be like, yo, what are we doing here? That's so unprofessional. So the fact that he's trying to do it to you is crazy. OOP did respond to that and say, Mom is really nice. And when I first started, it was $25 an hour, and she quickly changed it to $30. But Dad is a bit more in charge, and I don't think she would say or do anything. I've kind of noticed they make way for him for everything. So here is an update from the next day. Hi, everyone again. This is my update from my post from yesterday when I posted about one of my families wanting to cut my pay by $5. First, I'd like to say thank you and to all the kind comments and great advice. I didn't expect my post to blow up the way it did. I'm grateful for all the support I was given. I'm sorry I couldn't respond to everyone, but still thank you to all who commented. Sorry ahead of time because my post might be a long one. Okay, so after my phone call with the dad, I decided to text the mom and ask her if everything was all right and ask why they wanted to cut my pay that much. She texted me back saying it wasn't an easy decision, but ultimately her husband felt it was best to have a sit down with me and talk about my pay and what I'm doing as a babysitter. I told her I wasn't okay with the pay cut and they owed me the $25 they didn't pay me for Sunday. Mom ended up Venmoing the remaining $25 and asked if I could come in this morning to talk about my future with the family. Ooh. Well, so I ended up going because Mom reassured me Dad wasn't around. I talked to her and told her I wasn't happy that they did that to me and that I'm not going to babysit for them for $25 an hour when they have 3 kids. She told me she understood and was going to talk to her husband about it. Later tonight, I went and babysat for another family in the same neighborhood as them. They're all friends, and I told that mom everything that happened. She told me that the other mom tried looking for another babysitter and got quoted $60 an hour for the babysitting job, so she was pretty upset. Then that mom told me to tell them I've raised my rates due to the rising cost of living. I guess mom from the first family texted the other mom and asked if I was working for them, and the second mom said yes. Before I left, the first mom came over and asked if I was willing to make something work with her until she could work something out between us. Wait, huh? The second mom then stepped in and said the going rate has changed and the babysitting rates for 3 kids was $50 an hour. My brain's broken. So what did the first mom asked if I was willing to make something work with her? So you were going to do the $25 basically? Like, hey, can you just make the $25 work until we work something out, aka they find someone else? And then the second mom was like, hey, bruh, no, her rates actually went up. She's $50 an hour now. Okay, I think that's what happened. The first mom said she felt it was too much money. I told her $30 an hour for 3 kids was too low, and she eventually caved in and we compromised at $45 an hour. Well, the dad, the one who wants to cut my pay, is gone on a business trip for 9 weeks, so first mom told me she would pay me $45 an hour in cash until he gets back, and then once he's back, all 3 of us can sit down and figure out a new rate. I agreed to it only because the dad wasn't going to be around. The first mom said she couldn't miss going to tennis or Wednesday night dinners, so she was thankful I was a reliable sitter. God forbid she misses going to tennis. I hate when people like this cite the cost of living as to why they can't do something, but yet they have to have a tennis lesson that they cannot miss. Like, I guarantee that it's not cheap. Dinner is probably not cheap either. Like, we need to cut costs, but instead of cutting the fun things, we're gonna make it someone else's problem by cutting their pay so that they can't afford shit. I hate that. Oh, that makes me mad. Okay. Now I have 9 weeks to find another job to fill in for Tuesday and Wednesday night work. Wait, he's on a business trip for 9 weeks? I was thinking 9 days. That flew completely over my head. Sir, where did you go for 9 weeks? That's a crazy. Well, they clearly have money because why else would he be on a business trip for 9 weeks? I feel like that's not something that you would do if you were getting paid like a very small amount a year. Okay. I'm also really happy the other mom stepped in and stood by my corner when the first mom came over to talk to me. The mom I sat for tonight told me she would ask around and reassured me that it wouldn't be hard to fill in those days. I feel pretty good about that outcome and hope it all works out in the end. I have 1 more year of college, so I'm just hanging on until I can graduate. If you made it this far, thanks for reading. That made me happy. 9 weeks has not happened yet because this was posted originally on March 10th, 2026. So there is not another update in that sense, but it is considered concluded, so we might not get one. That was really justifying. That felt great. I loved that. Because like, oh, that they were just trying to pull one over on her because she's young and they wanted to take advantage of that and just like pay her less when like, no, just because you're young, like you clearly are good at what you do. It sounds like you're qualified to be babysitting. I would hope so. You've got like a full schedule. So clearly, like, you should be getting paid. And even if you weren't the most experienced person in the world, as long as you are qualified to be doing the job you're doing, you should be paid a livable wage. Especially if it's doing things like watching kids. I talk about this all the time because I have so many friends that are like preschool teachers, or I worked in a preschool as an aide for a long time. Like, very near and dear to my heart. I've actually told multiple people if the pay was good enough, I would probably be a preschool teacher. So I'm pretty familiar with preschools and like early ed, and they don't get paid enough. Even if you're just nannying, it's crazy. There are people in my neighborhood I used to live in. I don't live in a neighborhood anymore, but when I was in that one, they would always talk about like babysitting. They'd be like, yeah, I can give you $5 an hour, must be a college student, must have their own car, will not pay for gas, must take the kids to all of their activities. And it's like $5 an hour. Like, there's absolutely no way, not in this economy, insane work. So yeah, that's my little spiel that everybody should be paid more, but especially people in childcare. So the top best Redditor comment is, LOL, I love it. They figure they could pay less and ended up paying more. So I'm going to wrap it up. Sorry again, this is a shorter episode. Your girl's still not feeling great, but we're still working on it. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching and listening. It means the absolute world to me, like more than you know. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you could take like 1 second or less to like, comment, follow, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit that hype button. All of it's free. All of it takes 5 seconds tops, and it makes my dreams come true. Like, guys, we're doing this together. We are in this together, in this little community on my favorite corner of the internet. I look forward to posting videos because I get to respond to comments and talk to you guys, and it's like my favorite thing ever. Or videos and episodes. I keep saying videos because I'm literally staring at the camera, but listeners who are only listening and not able to have the video version, hey, I see you. If I ever say videos instead of episodes, it's because I'm staring at the camera, but I see you, I love you, and you are, of course, included in this. So that is pretty much it. I will catch you guys Sunday with a brand new podcast episode. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye, guys. Love you.